650,000 illegals. What? 435,000 of them are convicted criminals, i.e. murderers, rapists, and pedos.
Kids jumping on my lap.
Courtesy of One Dementia Joe.
And I love kids jumping on my lap.
And Kamala knee pads.
And I don't think she's a very smart person.
I'm Jazz Berganza on this. But Kamala says, vote for me and I'll fix all this.
Are you retarded?
But wasn't she the border czar who allowed this shit to happen in the first place? Yes. Yes, she was.
We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I don't know.
It's not a rhetorical question. Are you retarded?
And it's what's next. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Jazz Berganza. What's next? Your daily dose, common sense, facts, and salt. Hope you guys are feeling good today on this Monday. Of course, we start off a new week. 37 days. 38 days? 37 days, I think, till election day. Till this country decides which way it wants to go. Does it want to go back to lower gas prices, lower food costs, affordable housing, lower inflation, a foreign policy that makes sense and that matters? Or do we want to go forward with an incompetent fool who's empty-headed vessel and who's a clown and who hasn't done shit except up the border? There it is. But speaking of the borders, we go to the border where Kamala Harris, yes, Vice President Kamala Harris, finally, to quote The Rock, makes her way to the southern border for the first time as vice president. Remember that comment that I think that she had an NBC interview one time and she was asked, you've never been to the border. And then she goes, well, I've never been to Europe either. What does that have to do with anything? There you go. And here we go. This comes out of Breitbart. Data dump. 650,000 illegals, suspects free in Biden-Harris's America. That pretty much says it all now, doesn't it? President Joe Dementia's administration is allowing up to 650,000 criminal migrants and suspects, including 13,000 migrant murderers and 222,000 migrants facing criminal charges, i.e. murderers, rapists, and pedos, to roam through America's communities, according to a dramatic data dump by a House Republican that was released by a House Republican. Quote, the data says that among those not in detention, 425,000 convicted criminals reported to Fox News, which got the information from Representative Tony Gonzalez out of Texas, a letter from ICE to Gonzalez. Quote, your letter requests the number of non-citizens of ICE docket convicted and charged with a crime. As of July 21st to 24, there were 662,566 non-citizens with criminal histories on ICE's national docket, which includes those detained by ICE, and on the agency's non-detailed docket. Of those, 435,000 are convicted criminals, including 13,000 murderers, and 226,000 have pending criminal charges. The data, though, shows that there are 13,000 migrants convicted of homicide who are not detained, Fox News noted. The report says an additional 222,000 detained migrants are facing criminal charges, including 1,845 homicide charges, even though the agency is not choosing to use all of its 41,000 detention beds. Simple math. The data also shows that additional 15,000 migrants criminals in jail. The jail population includes 227 migrant murderers and 51 migrants who are facing murder charges. The data also shows 17,000 migrants found guilty or charged with sexual offenses. Gee, who didn't see that coming also? Quote, the non-citizen term in the data refers to illegal immigrants, overstayed migrants, and green card holders. All those can be deported if administration officials assign resources to do the job. Actually do their fucking job. You can kick them out of the fucking country. The criminals are not in detention because they have not served their time, but have not been deported. The data dump also urges a political problem for Kamala Harris, who is scheduled to give a speech early Friday evening promoting a tough border policy. March of 21. Harris reportedly declined to share a control migrant policy with President Joe Dementia's border chief, Alejandro Mayorkas, who is still there, by the way, which is at this point really doesn't matter at this point. Since then, the Cuban-born Mayorkas has used his power over the nation's immigration rules to sharply reduce the detention and deportation of migrants, including criminal migrants. Aren't they the same thing? Migrants and criminal migrants? Just saying. His rollback and enforcement is intended to help the Bidenomics economic strategy of creating millions of lower wage jobs for employers who prefer to hire illegals instead of better paid Americans. So far, Mayorkas has welcomed almost 10 million, it's more than that, it's more like 15, legals, illegals, and quasi-legal migrants, and roughly one migrant for every American birth in the last 4 years under Dementia Joe. Donald Trump quickly blamed Harris for the mass release of migrant murderers and criminals. Quote, nobody who has allowed this to happen in our country is fit to be president of the United States. Donald Trump. 13,000 people convicted of murder have crossed into our country through Kamala Harris's open border. Non-detained, non-citizen, convicted criminals. I've been saying this from the beginning of the Harris-Biden administration. As soon as I learned of the open borders, nobody who has allowed this to happen in our country is fit to be president of the United States. Bad timing for her to show up to the border today after not going for 4 years. Why didn't she release these numbers earlier? Well, we all know why, don't we, Donald? And there are the numbers right there. Donald Trump also said Kamala should immediately cancel her news conference, he declared in a second post. Kamala should immediately cancel her news conference because he just revealed that 13,000 convicted murderers entered our country during the 3.5 years as border czar, quote unquote. Also, currently in our country because of our 15,000 plus migrants convicted of rape and sexual assault. We've handed this administration the most secure border of our lifetime. That's very questionable. And of course, that was Tom Homan, former ICE director, who actually said that at the time. In 11 to 15 million illegals since Biden was, quote unquote, elected president. 11 to 15 million. Who knows how many more hundreds of thousands are convicted criminals? Now, every single illegal who crosses the border is a criminal. It's a fact. You're not a citizen, you're a criminal. But then it elevates to, what type of criminal are we? Do we steal, cheat, lie, murder, rape? Do we run around doing P. Diddy's? What kind? All kinds, according to this data dump, according to this information. All kinds. And yet, Kamala has, I won't say she has the balls because she has none. One, she being a woman, and two, she doesn't have a brain in her head, to have the balls to go down to the border, and I'm going to be the border czar. I'm going to fix all that's ruined. We can't have another 4 years. You mean the last 4 years that you stood there and did nothing? You didn't visit the border once in 4 years? And now, since you're running for prez, I'm going to go to the border and I'm going to be the best darn border control president ever. You're a fucking clown. You're a joke. You're a buffoon. You're an idiot. And anyone who supports you is all of the above. Look at Hollywood. Outside for a couple of people, most of Hollywood is supporting Kamala Harris because they're just fucking stupid. But then again, to quote the great Ron White, you can't fix stupid. And with that being said, I'm Jazz Berganzo. This is What's Next. Want to see more like this? Please have a comment below. Like it, share, subscribe to it. Hit that notification bell so you guys never miss a thing. Continue spreading the word about the show. Appreciate you guys watching as always. And we'll see you next time. Peace.